Myth number 2. Carbohydrates make you fat. The traditional approach to weight loss, or weight gain for that matter, is a mathematical one. When the number of calories taken in is greater than the number of calories burned, the excess is stored as fat. Conversely, if the number of calories consumed is less than the number of calories burned, you lose weight. And when calories in equals calories out, your weight stays the same. Accordingly, traditional weight loss diets have focused on cutting calories. Theoretically, it doesn't matter whether you cut out fats, carbohydrates, alcohol, or protein as long as you reduce your total caloric intake. But many people reject this mathematical model and argue that some types of calories, namely carbohydrates, are actually more fattening than others. The idea is that carbohydrates provoke a hormonal cascade that predisposes the body to burn fewer calories and store more fat. My own view is somewhere in between these two extremes. I don't believe that calories from carbohydrates are literally more fattening than calories from other sources, or that you need to completely avoid them. However, if you're looking for calories to cut, there are a few reasons that it makes sense to start with the carbohydrates. For one thing, most of us eat a lot more carbohydrates than we actually need. And secondly, there are other foods that offer more nutrition and satisfaction for the same or even fewer calories. Tip number 1, reduce carbs for better appetite control. One big factor affecting your appetite is how fast your blood sugar rises and falls after meals. In a nutshell, the faster your food is converted into glucose and absorbed into the bloodstream, the sooner you're going to feel hungry again. Carbohydrates are broken down into glucose much more quickly than proteins and fats, which require a lot more digestive steps to convert. In particular, cut way back on refined carbohydrates like soda, white bread, and other foods made with white flour, sweets, and sweeteners, including sugar, honey, and maple syrup. They're a disaster in terms of appetite control. They're also probably the least nourishing foods in the typical modern diet. You certainly won't be missing out on anything by eliminating them. Whole grains and whole grain products are more nutritious and somewhat easier on your blood sugar than refined carbohydrates. But even with whole grains, it's still important to practice portion control. They're still converted to blood sugar more quickly than other foods, and the calories can add up quickly. Tip number 2, replace some of those starches with protein and vegetables. One easy way to cut calories and amp up the nutrition at dinner is to replace the usual starch with a second vegetable. Instead of chicken, broccoli, and rice, for example, you could serve chicken, broccoli, and squash. Even though the meal contains fewer calories, you'll feel just as satisfied. Vegetables are low in calories, but high in fiber and water, two things that fill you up without filling you out. To tame an out-of-control appetite, try replacing some of the starches in your other meals with protein-rich foods like eggs, meat, poultry, fish, legumes, and tofu. Protein takes longer to digest, meaning that you won't get hungry as quickly after protein-rich meals and snacks. For example, instead of a sandwich consisting of 2 slices of bread and 1 slice of turkey, try having an open-faced sandwich with 1 slice of bread and 2 slices of turkey. Both sandwiches have about the same number of calories, but the higher protein version is going to keep you satisfied for longer. At breakfast, you could have an extra egg and 1 fewer pieces of toast. Here's the bottom line on carbohydrates and weight loss. You don't have to avoid all carbohydrates in order to lose weight. Good thing, too. Although strict low-carb diets can be an effective way to take weight off quickly, they are notoriously hard to sustain over the long haul, and that makes them poor candidates for permanent weight loss. However, cutting back on refined carbohydrates and bumping up the protein are good strategies for appetite control and long-term weight loss.